To understand our world, we must look through the lens of why.
All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're basically running a full-blown system diagnostic on your own brain. We are going to completely decode the hostile architecture that's actively hacking your attention every single day. Look, if you feel like your screen time is totally out of control or your focus feels completely nerfed lately, you aren't alone. And honestly, it is absolutely not an accident.
Let's just kick things off with a pretty jarring question. Next time you pull out your phone, ask yourself, are you doing it with a specific purpose? Or are you actually just trying to escape? Right? It's the difference between you using a tool and a machine using you. And what cognitive psychology is telling us right now is that for most of us, it's entirely the latter. Get this, the data shows that the average user is executing this totally unconscious unlocking habit an astounding 150 times a day. 150 times. You are not making a conscious, intentional choice 150 times a day. That is an automated neurobiological reflex that has been engineered directly into your routine. You're basically running on autopilot.
And that relentless jumping from app to app to app, it has completely fragmented our cognitive capacity. It's dropped the average human attention span down to a mere 8 seconds. This rapid-fire context switching is quite literally training your brain to reject deep focus.
It gets crazier. For people with severe app-switching habits, up to 80% of their screen time is trapped in an automatic state of compulsive engagement. That means 80% of the time you are staring at that glass rectangle, you aren't even making active choices. You're just running a script. You've become an NPC on your own device.
So how exactly is your hardware getting hijacked like this? Well, to understand it, we have to look at what behavioral scientists call the existential distraction loop.
This concept brilliantly illustrates how endless swiping isn't actually about being entertained at all. It is a negative reinforcement cycle driven by digital escapism. Think about it. You feel a microstressor. Maybe it's boredom, anxiety, or a really brutal assignment staring you down, and your brain immediately reaches for the absolute fastest available coping mechanism to numb that discomfort.
The crucial point here is understanding the mechanics behind the distraction. When you compare the slow drip dopamine of offline, deep work, stuff like reading a book or learning a complex skill, to the highly engineered variable reward of an algorithmic feed, you see exactly how the brain gets conditioned. It starts prioritizing instant gratification. The algorithm is literally built like a slot machine. You have no idea what that next short-form video or post is going to be, and that unpredictability, it spikes your dopamine, violently hijacking your attention away from anything that requires actual sustained effort.
And this brings us to the next point, which honestly is where things get genuinely terrifying. We have to talk about the physical toll this hostile architecture takes on your neurobiology.
We're not just talking about some bad habits you can brush off. We are talking about literal hardware damage. MRI scans show a physical reduction in the gray matter of your bilateral amygdala. That's your brain's emotional center. At the exact same time, this endless scrolling actively suppresses your prefrontal cortex, which totally nerfs your impulse control. Your dopamine pathways become so sensitized and fried from anticipating artificial rewards that normal, everyday life just feels painfully boring, leaving you in this state of chronic cognitive fatigue.
But wait. This cognitive heist doesn't magically stop when the sun goes down. It bleeds right into your night through a phenomenon known as the sleep displacement hack.
Just think about your own routine for a second. There is this massive, glaring delay between your bedtime, the moment you actually get under the covers, and your shut-eye time, the moment you finally drop the phone and go to sleep. This is an entirely artificial gap created by the anticipatory arousal and anxiety of scrolling.
The mechanics behind this are just brutal. First, the 480 nanometer blue light blasting from your screen actively suppresses your melatonin production. While that's happening, the total unpredictability of your feed keeps your nervous system locked in this ambient state of low-level stress. It completely prevents your natural descent into sleep readiness and totally trashes your sleep architecture. The result? You wake up experiencing total daytime cognitive failure for school or work, which just kicks off that vicious cycle all over again.
Okay, so if our physical hardware is being systematically attacked on a daily basis, we have to understand why relying on sheer willpower to fix this is a completely flawed, useless strategy.
The sources make this explicitly clear. Tech platforms love to push this idea of personal responsibility and time management. Why? Because it absolutely absolves them of the damage their algorithms cause.
It tricks you into fighting a neurobiological war with nothing but discipline. But here's the reality. You literally can't not out-willpower a supercomputer that was explicitly designed to hack your dopamine system. It's an unwinnable fight.
But look, it's not a lost cause. Not at all. Researchers Jayanta Majumdar and Dr. Parimal Sarkar actually outline a massive, comprehensive framework on evidence-based digital detoxification. And they proved that defeating this machine requires something far more effective than willpower. You have to completely change your physical environment.
So let's talk about the solution, the cheat codes for this behavioral intervention. We need to navigate your life back into what researchers call the blue zone.
Let's break these zones down. If the neon red zone is that mindless, compulsive, algorithmic scrolling we've been talking about, the radiant blue zone is the ultimate endgame. The blue zone is total offline absence from your devices. It is neurological restoration. It's where you protect your attentional resources and actually experience authentic presence in reality. The entire mission here is to shift your daily life out of the red and heavily into the green and blue.
You reclaim this offline space through physical environmental modding. Basically, you have to add friction to the system. Step 1. Delete the addictive apps, or at the very least, enforce logouts every single time to break your automatic muscle memory. Step 2. Convert your phone display to grayscale to instantly kill that visual dopamine hit. And Step 3. Physically separate the phone from your bedroom. If your phone is charging in the kitchen downstairs, you literally cannot unconsciously grab it at 2 a.m.
You can execute these mods using this incredibly effective 7-day reset protocol straight from the research. Don't just rage quit cold turkey. Escalate it progressively. Days 1 and 2? Just objectively track your screen time and unlocks to see how bad your baseline actually is. Days 3 and 4? You force 2 strictly device-free hours. Days 5 and 6, you execute a 24-hour algorithmic fast, meaning texts and calls only. And by day 7, you lock in an offline morning routine. This graduated approach gives your fried neural pathways a chance to genuinely recalibrate.
The ultimate objective of this explainer is to give you the exact mechanics you need to reclaim your personal cognitive autonomy. Once you actually understand the science of existential distraction and gray matter degradation, you realize pretty quickly that this isn't just about reducing screen time. It is about fiercely protecting your human agency in a world that is custom-built to harvest your attention for profit.
So I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on today. Look at your daily habits and ask yourself, who is really controlling your cognitive hardware right now? Is it you, or is it the algorithm? It's time to take the controller back. Thanks for joining.
Why settle for shallow facts? Join the intellectual rebellion. Subscribe to Y Lens now.